Good evening. I hereby call to order the August 23rd, 2023 meeting of the Gaithersburg Historic District Commission. For our roll call, please answer present when I call your name. Deputy City Attorney Frank Johnson.
Present.
Planner 2 Chris Berger.
Present.
Community Planning Manager Greg Mann.
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Kathleen, she's not with us tonight?
She's not.
Commissioner and Vice Chairman John Roddy.
Present.
Commissioner Mary Jo LaFrance.
Present.
Commissioner Mark Feinstein.
Present.
Commissioner Rudy Morgan.
Present.
And myself, Commissioner and Chairman Dean Ventola says present. So we have a quorum. Next is our preliminary statement, which is as follows. This commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and the members of this commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard tonight. Each application heard tonight is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing precedent for any other application. Lastly, any member of the public who wishes to speak on one of tonight's applications will be given 3 minutes to address the HDC from the podium at the reserved time. We ask that you refrain from speaking out in the audience and that you take any private conversations outside of the the council chambers. Okay, does any commissioner have any conflicts of interest on any of the applications tonight? And everyone says no? Okay, very good. First then, we have one set of minutes that needs approval, which is from the July 26, 2023 meeting. Does any commissioner have any corrections or additions they'd like to see made?
No, I just want to say that I viewed both of them, so I will be voting tonight.
Okay, very good. So I'll make the motion to adopt the minutes as written. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Any abstain? No. So that would be 5-0. All right, very good. So the first HOP, is it ready for that?
Yes, it is
Oh,
ready.
okay, very good. All right, so next we have a historic area work permit, which is HIST 9639-2023, which is to install 6 2x2 simulated divided light wood sash windows on the side and the rear elevations at 105 Russell Avenue in the R90 medium density residential zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, the subject property was constructed circa 1891 and is contributing to the Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District. The application comes before the HDC in accordance with Section 24-227A of the City Code. The applicant has submitted an application requesting the HDC approve the installation of 6 2/2 wood sash windows with simulated divided lights on the side and rear elevations. The applicant said he will install a true divided light wood sash window on the front elevation, which is indicated here. So we're going to have a true divided light here for this window, but these other windows, which are on the rear and side elevations, and there's another angle of those same 2 windows, this side, these 2 windows, and then these 2 up here. They are to be simulated divided light. The Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District guidelines apply. The second bullet point here reads that deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced, or the severity of deterioration requires a replacement of a distinctive feature. The new feature shall match the old in design, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. And the third bullet reads, if a material is developed in the future that can provide an appearance that is historic, it may be used on a case-by-case basis. And then also we have the section on windows. We'll go to the second bullet point here. Windows vary in number of lights. The panes characterizing their distinctive home styles retain, repair, or duplicate original sash, glass, and lintels. So, to stir your memory in regard to the windows, in January 2020, the HDC reviewed the retroactive installation of the 7 vinyl windows as part of HIST 8391-2020, and you required the applicant to remove the vinyl windows and reinstall 2/2 wood sash windows within 180 days. Of course, the COVID-19 pandemic affected that timeline, so at the January 2022 meeting, the HDC approved a 1-year extension for HIST 8391-2020, including the replacement of the 7 vinyl windows. The applicant did not meet the deadline when that extension expired earlier this year and was cited by Neighborhood Services. So on April 26th of this year, the applicant submitted HIST 9523-2023 requesting approval to install 7 2/2 wood simulated divided light wood sash windows. The HDC approved the HOP and the following conditions in regard to the windows. The first one is the applicant must replace the vinyl windows with wood sash windows within 90 days of HDC approval, and the wood must be true divided lights and not simulated divided lights as was proposed. That 90 days obviously has passed and the applicant still has yet to install the windows, but the applicant has contacted Sunbright Windows and Doors to source 2/2 wood sash windows with true divided lights, and they're not easy to find. According to Sunbright, only one company, Vermont-based Green Mountain Window, makes 2/2 wood sash windows with true divided lights. Each of those windows costs $3,800 to fabricate and install, and they take up to 36 weeks. So the applicant proposes to install a true divided light only on the front elevation, that one window. For the remaining 6 windows on the side and rear elevation, the applicant again seeks to install these windows here, the Sierra Pacific 2/2 wood sash windows with single panes. Since the April meeting, we've learned a little more about these windows from the Sunbright representatives. These center bars are applied to the exterior of the single pane. They're not double panes with the bar in the middle as was presented to the HDC in April. So that's the new information that we know since then. They give the appearance of a 2/2 window, and they're cheaper. They cost $2,625 each, and their lead time is 11 weeks. So they're easier to source and cheaper. Staff supports the simulated divided light windows based on this new information. Per the design guidelines in the neighborhood, if a material is developed in the future that can provide an appearance that is historic, it may be used on a case-by-case basis. The difference in the windows will not be discernible from the right-of-way. I'll go back to the photos. So I'll show on the aerial where the windows are located. The first window on the front is located here, so it's along Russell Avenue, but the other windows are back here on the side elevations and then back in this corner. When I went to take a photo last week, the vegetation is so dense that a photo is pointless. You can't even make anything out. So we just used these photos from 3 years ago, which were taken in the middle of winter when there's, these trees aren't leafed out. So going back to the window photo, staff seeks a condition that the applicant has the option to install this window, the Sierra Pacific window, on the front elevation as well. And a second condition that the applicant remove all 7 vinyl windows installed without a HOP by April 27th, 2024, and reinstall the 2/2 wood sash windows you see here before neighborhood services will begin to issue infractions. The date, April 27th, 2024, that was selected because it will be a year from when the HDC approved the HOP that you, HIST 9523-2023, which you approved earlier this year. And it's also 36 weeks away. So if they were to go with the true divided light, the Vermont company, that would take 36 weeks according to Sunbright to manufacture and install. So the applicant, Marco Castro, is here. If you can please come to the podium, state your name for the record, and add anything else you would like to.
Hello. Welcome. Before you can state your name, please, and
Sure.
then we want to swear you in.
Yeah, Marco Castro.
Okay, hold on, please.
You want to raise your right hand, and if you can repeat after me.
Sure.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to the best of my knowledge.
Yes, I swear to tell the truth,
Okay.
all the best of my knowledge.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Please let us know any further information you'd like us to have.
Oh, well, I've been working at this, trying to get this windows for so long. So I went to so many different places trying to get the windows, like so many, but unfortunately I couldn't find the size. They were just like too old, too big, too small. Now finally I find this company. Somebody is going to do it for us. It's going to be very costly, like you heard. It's going to be about 3,000 some each window, okay, which I'm willing to do it. It's going to take about 36 to 40 weeks, I believe, for one. And for the other one, Sierra Windows, is going to take about 17 weeks, something like that. So here I am trying to get it done. It's been so long, and it's, I just want to get it fixed.
Okay, all right, thank you. Chris, do you know, on the photo for the simulated divided, I see that there's a muntin on the outside, obviously, but does it have a muntin on the inside
does.
face as well?
Both
Okay.
inside and outside.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, so is anything further before we go to the public?
Oh, I don't think, I really want to just fix this situation. Another thing, I don't know if it's the moment, but some of the other windows are very bad, in very bad condition. I mean, it's a historic house, I understand that, 100%. But, we are leaving the house. We love our house, the way it is. We like to, if we can get the opportunity to replace, all the windows on top, that'll be just the time, if it's possible. Because now if we're gonna put new windows, right, we're gonna have 7 new beautiful windows, and the others, they're gonna look so old and broken, and I try to call other people to help me to, try to get it fixed. Number one, they can't do it. Like, anybody can, they don't even wanna touch it. Everybody sees like, no. Historic, no. I can't do it. There's no way. You have to change it. Now I have the opportunity to replace those windows. If I can replace the other ones, I believe it's 3 more. If there's not much to ask, this will be the time.
Okay,
That's pretty much it.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have anybody waiting from?
We don't.
The
No
public?
one's
Okay,
online.
is there anyone who wishes to speak who's present here today? And seeing no one? Okay, all right, so then we can go to the commission. All right, so I guess first up is Commissioner Roddy.
Thank you. I think the windows suggested by Sunbright, or offered by Sunbright, because of the cost and the lead time required, make them not feasible for our purposes. That's sort of akin to trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. You can do it, but to what end? This is nuts. But only the window on the front elevation has any real significance to us. The rest are not visible from the street. And even that one is, by its height above the ground, sufficiently out of the realm of being decipherable as to being whether it's the real or not. So I would say I agree with staff's recommendation that we allow even the front elevation to be subject to this option. You can do it either way. And I do agree with staff's recommendation as to the installation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner LaFrance?
I prefer that it were an actual 2/2 in the front personally. I think that it's unfortunate the original windows were lost. And again, I would prefer, I'll let everyone else speak on it, and then I'll be ready when we're ready to vote.
How about the other 6 that are on the side and the rear?
I totally have no problem with them being simulated.
Okay, all right, very good. Anything further?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Feinstein?
The simulated divided light windows are single pane?
Correct.
Yeah, just wanted to confirm that.
The difference, we were under the impression in April that they were double pane and had the grid
Yeah.
down the middle with the 2,
Right.
but the Sunbright representative clarified that it's how it's photographed in the picture here. They're
Okay,
on the
so it's-
exterior, it's a single pane of glass.
Is it available in double pane? Insulated?
I don't know. I'm
I
sure
wouldn't- I
that's a
wouldn't-
more.
If it was double, I think it would not be appropriate.
For a simulated divided?
Just because of the main difference, you with the double pane glass, you can tell it's simulated. With this, it's applied, you can't really tell.
That's right.
All right, good point.
With regard to the other windows, replacing those, I know that's not part of the hall, but if you brought it up,
Yeah,
I
that's,
do not, if they're historic
New
windows,
hall.
it would have to be a new hall.
Yeah.
and we would prefer that they be repaired
Exactly.
rather
Yes.
than replaced.
Yes.
It's gonna be very hard. I tried since.
There are
this happened.
companies that specialize in it.
Absolutely.
I can show the list. It's about 40 companies I called, like a lot of people.
Yeah, I've
So
provided
many
him
people.
with
And I
some,
didn't, I'm sorry, I didn't care the price. I didn't care the price, but no one wants to touch it.
there's about a half dozen companies that specialize in wood window restoration in this
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
I can't, I didn't call them, so I'm sure his experience is accurate. So I don't know if they only prefer larger jobs or what have you, but there are companies that do specialize in this area. And I found another one recently that I
Oh,
can share
okay.
with you as well.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I can say from my own experience, when I just want to interject with this, that one of the reasons that manufacturers are concerned or wary about it is a lot of HDC can or have rejected the windows after they're constructed. And so I've had experience in my life when I was trying to get historic buildings to have historic windows. They were very difficult to get because they had the fear. But for us, in our HDC, we would not have that concerns if you were giving us the windows that were similar to what was there, true divided and wood, we would accept them. And my point is, I think that's why you're having trouble. There's a lot of people, once you say it's historic, because we're in front of the HDC, they run, they back away because they've had some issues. I know it, just from my own personal experience. But thank you, yes. So yes, Commissioner Morgan, you are next, please.
Yeah, I commend you for your effort in finding company to address this, to solve your problem. The other windows, I don't have a problem. I accept the staff recommendation. But the front, I think for a historical building, we want to restore and maintain the window as in kind, rather than just replacing them with something that is not compatible to the style and the time of the historical building. So you can understand why we are actually do. I mean, you can go back. I don't know. You try 40 different companies, and I agree with Dan. And basically, nobody want to put in the effort and install window that would be rejected. So they stand behind their product. So I can see why they are rejecting your offer. But I stand with staff recommendation.
Anything further?
No.
Okay, all right, very good. Then I'm next and last. I think I agree with everybody, particularly the idea that the front window should be true divided, just because if you came to us originally without replacing the windows, we clearly would have said repair them. And so at the very least, I can personally live with the idea that the front elevation, which is seen from the street, which is the most important, should get as close a replica as possible, and the other windows, which are very difficult to see, as Chris pointed out, particularly in the back, I think I can certainly live with simulated divided. So those are my thoughts. Commissioners, open forum. Anybody want to have anything further to say? Nothing further for anybody? Okay. All right, so then, may I have a motion to approve or deny this application?
I move that we approve HISD 9639-2023. Although, when making this motion, we may need to change it up a little if we want the conditions to be different. But
Yeah,
let me,
Jennifer, can you read the whole
let me
thing
do,
for them, for the record?
and of course, install 6
I think it's
2/2.
It's the red. I move.
Yes. The staff, so, yeah.
Right here. I move that.
I move that the Historic District Commission, based on exhibits submitted and the applicant's testimony and the staff report findings and recommendations, approve HIST 9639-2023 with one condition.
Okay.
Which would be the applicant must install all 7 2/2 wood sash windows by April 27th, 2024, and that the second floor above window be replaced with a true 2/2.
Second.
You seconded it, but before that, does that state that all the 6 windows in the rear have to be simulated divided?
Yes.
Okay, very
Yes.
good. All right, so it was stated and seconded. Okay, very good, so go for a vote. Aye if you support the motion, nay if you don't, or abstain if you wish. Commissioner Roddy?
Nay as to, with regard to the front elevation window. Aye as to all the other things contained in the motion.
Okay, are you suggesting that we break this out? Would you
I would, yes.
Okay,
Just-
all right, so then let's break it out into 2 separate votes, because we've done this in the past. So let's see here. So the first would be the front elevation, and then the remaining 6. All right, so let's go for a revote then. Just, let's start out with the front elevation being required to be true divided. So Commissioner Roddy, you already said
Nay.
nay. All right. Commissioner Alphonse,
Yay.
okay. Commissioner Feinstein?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Commissioner Feinstein. Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Aye, very good, thank you. Commissioner Morgan, and Commissioner Ventola says yes and aye. So I would say that it's 4 to 1 to 0, that the front elevation's window must be true divided lights. Okay, so then the remaining 6, Commissioner Roddy, can they be true, simulated divided?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Alphonse?
Aye.
Commissioner Feinstein?
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
And Commissioner Ventola says aye, so that passes 5 to 0.
And that
So,
includes the condition, excuse me, I just want to make sure.
and yes, as we all understand, it includes all of the conditions that you stated in your motion.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sir, is it clear to you what we did? So in the end, the front elevation is to be true divided and the other 6 to be maybe simulated divided, and if you wanted to, make them true divided, that's your option. Obviously, the cost that I understand would not lead you to that, but you have that option. And then the other windows, any other windows have to come back to us that you're going to adjust, have to come back to us for a separate haul.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Just to finish up, number 1, thank you so much for this opportunity. And number 2, just to let you know, when it's cold, last year it was so cold, those windows are horrible. If you're inside the house.
We are sure.
We're aware of that.
So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
It's not just, I understand the looks and I'm willing to work. I don't care about the price,
Right.
but I want to make sure my family and I,
When all the
It
window
wasn't,
situation,
it wasn't fun when it was all,
Yeah.
0 degrees.
when
It
it's
was
all been
very cold.
solved and you have repairs done and replacement, you may want to look at outside storm windows.
That's what I
That'll
was
give
just
you
gonna
what
say.
exactly you need. Plus, it will protect the windows from deterioration because of that second piece of glass. So you'll have hopefully a lifetime there without having to mess with it anymore.
Yeah, the storm windows are a great idea,
Yeah.
but if you do the storm windows, that would be a separate hop here, but
Yeah.
you would
Yeah,
find favor
definitely.
here
Yeah.
on doing those, but they would give you double protection and insulation between the 2 panes, which makes your house a little bit warmer. So-
And of course, you want to insulate the walls of your house
Yeah.
because even
Yeah.
if the windows are great,
We work on
the
it.
walls aren't going to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Just in terms of clarity for the record,
Yes.
then what was passed was essentially Commissioner LaFrance's motion.
Right,
Yes.
And that was seconded?
yes.
It was.
Yes.
It was.
I mean,
Okay,
Mark
Yes.
seconded
Okay.
it before I
Okay.
asked for it,
perfect.
so I
Just,
know it was
just so that
seconded.
we're clear on the record and
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah. It was
understands
absolutely
what was
seconded.
actually passed, because it's got to be by motion, so we're good.
Thank you.
I'm
and
not-
best
I'm
of
not-
luck to you.
I'm not worried
Thank you.
about that, I
Thank
just
you
want to
very
say,
much.
I know it was seconded.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, it was
No,
it was official.
That part I'm less concerned about. I thought it
Concerned
was-
with legally.
And by the way, I never mind help, trust me. Okay, very good, thank you very much,
so much.
thank you very much for coming. Okay, next then is demolition permit application review, which would be SP 9552-2023 which is the demolition of a building 50 years or older, and a courtesy review of 403 East Diamond Avenue in the CBD Central Business District Zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Staff is here tonight for both the demolition review of the existing building at 403 East Diamond Avenue and a courtesy review of the proposed 3-story headquarters for fine craft contractors. The quarter-acre property is located in the CBD Central Business District Zone, as shown on the map. The property is also located in the Old Town Courtesy Review area. The existing building is a 2.5-story, 4-square with full Victorian-style elements that was constructed circa 1907 as a single-family residence. It was converted into commercial use circa 1970 and is now vacant. Here are some photos of the property. This is looking at it from East Diamond Avenue. This is the side. You can see the existing driveway in the foreground. This is the rear. You can see Gaithersburg Station on the other side of East Diamond. And this is the other side. So the building is not designated as historic, but in accordance with section 24.231 of the city code, buildings aged 50 years or older that are proposed for demolition first require an HDC review to determine if they both meet the criteria for historic and cultural significance and architectural and design significance as is detailed under section 24.226 and has the reasonable probability for historic designation by the mayor and city council. If the HDC determines that a property both meets criteria for historic and architectural significance and has the reasonable probability for historic designation, it may direct the city manager to withhold issuance of a demolition permit and petition the mayor and council to initiate the historic designation process. In staff's opinion, the property at 403 East Diamond Avenue appears to meet section 24.226.2.1 for its architectural and design significance in that it, quote, embodies the distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction. However, staff does not believe the building has the reasonable probability for designation as detailed under section 24.231 D2B and does not recommend the HDC petition the mayor and council to designate the property as historic. This recommendation is based on statements the mayor and council made in 2021 opposing potential historic designation on East Diamond Avenue, the mayor and council's desire to see redevelopment in Old Town, and the changes that have occurred to the properties that surround 403 East Diamond, which include the construction of Gaithersburg Station Apartments and the demolition earlier this year of a similar property next door at 405 East Diamond. This application also comes before you tonight in accordance with section 24-227.4 of the City Code, which does require the HDC to provide recommendations to the Planning Commission on site development plan approvals located within courtesy review areas. The HDC recommendations shall provide, where relevant, analysis and comment upon the following matters. The first being architectural compatibility, which includes elements as design, masonry and architectural details, width and height of buildings and structures, roof, doors, window styles, and other elements contained within the adopted guidelines of the Historic District Commission. And 2, the effect or impact upon the preservation and protection of buildings, structures, or districts designated historic. And 3, the effect or impact upon historic appurtenances and environmental settings. This application, SP-9552-2023, is a concept site plan, and staff notes that the HDC will also provide a courtesy review of the final site plan application at a future time. It's important to note that in 1997, the Planning Commission and the Mayor and City Council, acting as the Historic District Commission, both voted against historic designation later that year for 403 East Diamond Avenue, which is the property here tonight. The 2005 Old Town Master Plan shows the current site of 403 East Diamond Avenue, which is right here, improved with a plaza, pedestrian bridge, connecting the site with Dogwood Drive, which is across the train tracks, the CSX right here. And adjacent commercial infill in this general location. More generally, the plan encourages redevelopment in the Old Town district when the opportunity presents itself. And joining us tonight, to present the plans are Nico with Finecraft Contractors and Warren of Running Dog Architects. I will turn it over to you.
Welcome.
you.
Before you begin, please state your name, and then we're going to swear you in.
Okay. Hello, good evening. My name is Nico Papaheraclis. I'm the business manager of Finecraft Contractors and representing the company.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Warren Wick. I am the architect on the project.
Thank you. All right, please swear them in.
Okay, if you both would raise your hand. Actually, I'll say it, and if you agree with it, you just say, "I swear."
Okay.
I swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to the best of my knowledge and understanding.
I swear.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay,
think we're in good
please
shape.
add anything you'd like us to know.
Okay, well, thanks again for the opportunity to talk to you about this project of ours. I have put some few notes together. The current house is falling apart. It's not built for what we have planned. A simple addition would not allow us to conduct our business needs and would defeat the goal we're shooting for with the new building. We're very much a community-centric company. With the new building, we plan to, 1, have business seminars for local businesses, including those part of the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce, of which we're a member. 2, have woodshop classes with our nonprofit partner, Blue Collar Project, whose mission it is to train youth in trade skills. And 3, hold community events to help create a flourishing downtown Gaithersburg. These main objectives require us to have a building designed with precise spaces that will allow us to achieve these goals. We've been meticulously planning this for over 8 months now, and when done, we believe it will add a great deal to the master plan of this area. That's what I had to say.
Wonderful. Okay.
I'll turn it over to Warren.
Okay. I guess we want to go to... Oh, okay. Here, we are working with the city on, this is a preliminary site plan. I think you can clearly see the footprint of the building. It's a very long, narrow site. It's been quite a challenge because our client would like to have some parking there, even though, from our understanding, parking isn't required. But due to the nature and the use of the building, we tried to achieve as many parking spots as we could get, and I believe there's 6. That number's fluctuated a little bit due to the fact that we're trying to work with getting the stormwater management engineering finished. We're proposing permeable pavers and areas and planters that will absorb the rainwater. So, this is a rendering of the project. It is still very much in schematic level design. We haven't brought on any mechanical or structural engineers yet. As you can see, it's a 3-story building. The bottom level will have a cabinetry shop. The second floor will have presentation areas, offices, and a material selection room for Finecraft's clients. The upper level is also has an outdoor deck. It has some more spaces for offices, as well as meeting areas. So the building is actually not very large. It's under 7,500 square feet. It's about 39 feet 6 inches tall. We are planning to use a brick veneer with metal panels. As you can see between the windows on the front elevation, that would be a metal panel. This is the west elevation. You can see that we're also incorporating brick veneer and metal panels as the materials here. This is the back. This would be facing the railroad. And then this is the side that's facing the house that had the tree, the accident. So that's, again, our preliminary design and layout, and be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, next then we'll go to the public, and there's nobody present other than yourselves. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're going to the public. If you would like to speak, please come up to the podium. And please introduce yourself and tell us what district you live in.
Sure. My name is Paula Ross. I'm the president and CEO of the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce, of which Nico mentioned. They are members of ours.
Okay, please go ahead and tell us your thoughts and support or
I'm here
against.
to lend support to the project and to support Nico and his team of architects and civil engineers, and lend the chamber's support from a business standpoint to this project in the interest of meeting the master plan in Gaithersburg and building a strong central business district.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone, there's no one else that I'm missing? Okay, good. Is there anybody who is waiting online?
No one online.
No? Okay, then we'll go to the commissioners. Commissioner Roddy, you're up first.
Thank you. The existing structure is a relatively late example of the American Foursquare, one of which Gaithersburg has quite a few, but it's been much altered over the years, and any architectural charm has long since left it. Even at my most optimistic, I would say there's no reasonable probability of that being designated, so those are my thoughts.
Okay, very good. Commissioner LaFrance?
I don't want to proceed. Can I skip B and come last?
Of course.
Thank
All right. Commissioner Feinstein?
I've spent a lot of time thinking about the existing structure and whether or not it should be designated, and has potential to be designated, I should say. It's hard because whenever there's an old building that's, has been in the city for over 100 years, it's hard to contemplate the idea of it allowing for it to be demolished, but where it sits in terms of its current setting as it relates to what's around it versus what obviously was there 100 years ago is drastically different. The building has been changed and altered over the years somewhat, even though the front facade is very has a lot of the original components. And you struggle with the idea, especially as a historic district commission, is it old or is it historic? I guess that's the question. And it's definitely old, but is it truly historic? And I think if it was by itself, I don't know if it meets that qualification and we talked about this previously in that area, like that area was a district, it would be a different story, but it's not. So therefore, and we've already tried that. So therefore, I don't think it would be probably designated.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Morgan?
Share the same sentiments with Mark. A building 50 years old, it's not just the building that's sitting by itself. You have other buildings. It's like you speaking a language and a vocabulary. When you have these buildings in the community and over 50 years, they all have similar look and style. And you start to take one down at a time and change the environment. I'm looking at a brick and a metal building. I'm looking at the existing building. The front facade, the rear, the sides have been changed over time. But the front, I think the owner maintained the front for 50 years. It still looked similar to when it was built 50 years ago. And just to come and replicate or change the entire environment, I look across the street, I see the same brick and stone facade. It's like things are dissipating and they're being replaced by something new. So again, I know it has not been designated as a historical building or historical district. So, but I'm just expressing my sentiment that you're changing something that been around for 50 years, replacing it with. My suggestion with the new building, if you can take some character from the existing building and incorporate that into your new, just to maintain some of the vocabulary that you bet in, I think I'll be fine with that. I mean, that's my earnest opinion on that. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to vote against it because I don't think we can do that.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Would you like me to go next, or would you like to go next?
I think I can go next now. I guess what I want to say is that it's disappointing, and I read the record thoroughly. There was enough evidence, as far as I'm concerned, back in the 1990s to historically designate this building. And at the time, the HDC/Mayor and Council did not feel that it was worthy of designation. And I don't think there's a reasonable probability that they will feel any differently today. So, what I will say about that is, I would like, if we decide to make a motion at some point this evening, to include some things like salvage, and we can talk about that later when we go to discussion.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I'm next and last. Can you put up the picture of the existing house?
Sure.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I keep looking at Chris.
Fine.
That's all right.
There you go.
Yeah, this to me is a beautiful piece of architecture.
Mhm.
There's no question in my mind. And it is worth saving. But Chris, do we know of any, so the architecture is there, and staff agrees the architecture is worth preserving. But do we know of any of the people that own the property, as far as their contribution to Gaithersburg? Do we know anything
Yeah,
about that?
as I wrote in the staff report, I was able to use census records to somewhat tell brief stories of each of the owners. The first owners, I don't know if they've actually ever lived there or built this as an investment rental property. That was the Murphy family. The next family were the Smith family. The Murphy family was the first owner, and he was a tinsmith. The next family was the Smith family, blacksmith, I believe, so similar kind of field. The longest tenured owners were the Allnuts. There was a Allnut that owned it for 3 years in the 20s, and then sold to, I'm guessing it was a relative. I couldn't tell if it was a cousin or what have you. To Russell and Lena Allnut, and they lived there until, well, Lena, I believe, died in the 50s. Russell lived there from the 30s until 1968 when he died. He had a number of different careers. His World War I draft card listed him as a farmer. He was a school bus driver, janitor, egg and poultry dealer. So his sons, there's 2 sons, inherited the property. They sold it to families in the 80s, and it transitioned, I believe, in that time to the commercial use. There was a kitchen on the ground floor, as you can tell from the stove, the pipe on the chimney in the back there. So we have some idea of who lived there. The obituaries for the people are very brief, and as we know, the newspapers at the time were kind of the internet of the day, the first drafts of history. So not to say that the people weren't important and weren't contributing members of the society, but their obituaries were just, pretty brief. So, and there wasn't a whole lot of other information available for them in the written records. So I think we can conclude that the people who live there aren't necessarily people who influence society, and we can also conclude that there's no important events that occurred there. So that takes care of for a historic point of view.
Thank you very much. By the way, are those 2x2 windows are they operable?
Yes.
Yeah, I think our previous applicant may be interested in those.
He could take them if he wants.
Well, they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. All right, so my thoughts are, as you guys know, I think it's a beautiful piece of architecture, and I do think that I can't say that the mayor and council, although that they're stalwarts for replacing the existing architecture with newer products to help the economy grow, is something that I do think that they probably still will be for. But I can say, though, there were 3 very strong minded council members that have voted against every time we put up something, but they're now gone. Those 3 council members are gone in the last 2 years. And I thought they were all 3, and I won't mention their names, I thought all 3 were terrific, wonderful council people, and really good persons. And they all went on to bigger and better things. So the fabric of the council has changed. And there was one, it was that we sent up, did have momentum for a vote. And then conversation when I reviewed or watched the video of the voting somehow got changed. And I think it failed 4-3 instead of passing 4-3. So 2 of those members are no longer, maybe 3, but 2 of those members, I think all 3 are now off the council. So there is a possibility of a different vote just because the council has different people on it. So that's worth considering, I guess. I will, to be honest with you, I'm going to abstain because I can never vote against a beautiful piece of architecture. So I will support whatever you guys want. If you guys want to save this or try to save it and bring it to the mayor and council, I'll support that. If you guys think that it's futile, I'll support that as well. So that's it for me. So next then is, does anybody have anything further to say?
I just wanted to clarify that it's very likely that the mayor and council would mirror the previous mayor and council's thinking. That's why I feel like this really is a lost cause. Although I agree with you, Dean, I'm not giving up historic preservation. I do believe that we should definitely continue to ask for historic preservation for the gems that we have in mind that haven't come before us yet, and hopefully we will get to those. And I guess my question, Dean, is we're going to vote on this, but then we're doing a courtesy review after. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be 2 separate things. And we don't vote on the courtesy review anyway.
Right. So I'll save my comments for the courtesy review, but yes, I wish, and that's going to be hard too, because I guess I can't abstain or we won't have a quorum, right?
But we tried.
We have a
it-
quorum.
Yeah, but we tried this before, right? And
Yeah.
it didn't-
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's-
Yeah.
I think look at it as an individual. I mean, it's not our job to predict what the mayor and city council is going to say. It's our job to
You brought
to
that up
rule.
before, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
strongly agree with that point,
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
I mean, so on its own merits, I mean, if you believe that it should be saved, you should vote that way.
Yeah, I agree. We have a job to do, and he has a job. I mean, looking at this new proposal is going to benefit, from his perspective, it's going to bring some financial benefit to Gaithersburg. It's also going to give back to the community. We're talking about training young people, so that's where he's coming from. But we have a job to do as well.
Yeah,
So I
and
think.
We really
yeah.
don't need to consider that part of it.
Right. I mean, I think we need to consider on its own. I think the front facade, I mean, while I think it has elements that are very nice, I think there's proportionally some issues with it. I think the
Yeah.
window in the middle is
Yeah.
off a little bit from and the doors on either side. That
Yeah.
obviously there's been a lot of alteration over the years for that. It's just, to me,
There's probably something wrong on the second floor
Yeah.
where the sign was, because I don't think the windows would have looked like that.
exactly.
You
So
know, in the middle.
to me, that's why I'm leaning the way I mean, it's
Yeah.
leaning the way
I think all 5 of us approach this with a great deal of reluctance.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the reasonable probability of a designation by the mayor and
Yeah,
council.
and I want to add to that, is that you did say that we shouldn't really worry about guessing what the mayor and council will do, but we actually have to.
At least
Because
in
the way
this
the
case.
law is written, we have to vote on whether we believe that it will pass or not.
Yeah.
And that's the way the law is written. So we have to be true to ourselves. We can't say, well, I don't think it'll ever pass, but I'm going to vote anyway, because that's not proper. It's
Yeah.
not fair to the applicant. If
Yeah,
we
unless
don't
I mean,
believe it.
if it was truly a gem,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
and it was something that we knew would be controversial because of, for alternate reasons, I think then it's our job to fight for it to some degree. I don't think that's the case here.
So I think I've taken
I
the
agree with
position where whoever makes the motion tonight, that I want as a condition, things of the building that are
I agree with that.
salvageable.
Yeah.
Windows, doors, siding, woodwork, columns, fretwork, and for that matter, the siding itself. I have to tell you, the trees that made this siding were ancient when they were cut down. So we're talking about a 100-year-old house that may be 500 years old, or 300 years old, really, in materials. That siding is something that other people in the historic district would like to have, so they can replace their rotten siding.
May I say something?
Yes, please.
With our projects, wherever we, in residential construction, which we are in, we go through the effort to have Second Chance or Habitat for Humanity come and take whatever that they can reuse. So we're all for the reuse of whatever can be reused. If it was considered a gem, we would be all for seeing what we can use of it for within our purposes, because we bought it for a purpose. And I know and I have empathy and can respect the historical value of things, but I also want to put your attention to the future value of the building that we're going to put there because of the value we're going to give to the community. I was born here. I was born actually just down the street. Our home office is down the street. My father started our company in 1985, and we have been going strong for 37 years, working in Gaithersburg and surrounding areas. Just the impetus behind buying it and doing what we're doing is because we've run out of space. And we want to contribute more. That's why we've become members of the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce. We want to be more involved and we want to contribute more. And we feel that by doing that in this space, specifically serendipitous as it is in this, look, I had no idea I would be talking here about a historical building, and seeing the master plan and the research that we've done, it's even more, it lends to what we're about in terms of community and so forth. So I just want to put that into perspective because, you know, we want to add value for another 37 years, you know, or however long I'm around. We're multi-generational. It was my father, it's my sister and I, and my cousin and other relatives working in the company. And we support dozens and dozens of different people. And we've serviced more than 2,000 residents in the area. So.
And we understand that, but you need to understand that for us, in our purview, we're being asked to look at this as
Sure,
historic
I completely
without
respect that,
including what's coming next.
Right.
Because that would cloud our view of what's
Right.
before us.
Right. And I respect your
thank you.
your intent on salvaging. I'm on the same page. Yeah.
Okay.
So do we want to do a motion before we discuss the,
Absolutely, yeah, definitely, because they're completely separate, and we don't vote on the
Right.
the recommendation anyways, or the courtesy review anyway. So, okay, so does anybody have anything further before we go to a motion? Okay, I'm open to a motion to either send the demolition permit on to the city manager or to petition the mayor and council for implementing further study. So do we have a motion for that?
yeah, I move that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff reports, findings and recommendations, does not direct the city manager to withhold issuance of any demolition permit for 403 East Diamond Avenue with the following condition: that all relevant elements that were previously addressed by Commissioner LaFrance be salvaged.
Okay.
Do we want to,
The difficulty is that your decision is to either direct withholding or to move forward with it. The salvage issue is not addressable at the time of issuing the demolition permit. That's all certainly part of your comments and considerations. And bearing in mind this is concept, that can even be underscored even more at final site plan. And sitting at Planning Commission, I know that the Planning Commission will also, because those comments will actually go to the Planning Commission in considering the next steps of the plan
So
as
can we
well.
make it a suggestion?
Yeah, it's part of your
Instead of
comments,
a
that's
condition.
why you're
Say
here.
strongly
Yes,
recommend.
but not as
Strongly
far as
recommend,
It's not
the
a
only
condition,
issue
yeah.
was,
Gotcha.
you really don't
It's
have
a
the
good point,
ability to
Frank,
condition the
absolutely good point.
permit issuance part.
Yeah, it's not negotiation.
So-
We either
So
send
can
it or
it
we
be
don't.
part of a courtesy
Absolutely,
suggestion?
absolutely,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
and should be.
Yeah.
May I say something?
Yes, please do.
Can it be further to your point, which is getting a company like Second Chance or Habitat for Humanity to come and do whatever skilled taking away, because that would be
Yep.
very common for us to have that take place first and then
Right.
do the needed demolition.
Yeah.
You know?
That'd
Yeah,
be
they can
wonderful.
salvage whatever they
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Perfect.
So that's,
So motion's been made, do we have it?
Second.
Okay, a second, all right, so, if you support the motion, nay if you don't, or abstain if you wish. Commissioner Roddy,
Aye.
Commissioner LaFrance,
Aye.
Commissioner Feinstein.
aye.
Commissioner Morgan,
Ah,
and Commissioner Ventola abstains, and so it passes 4-0 to 1. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And, stay where you are.
Now we talk.
We got the exciting part coming, right? So next then is, and thank you very much for your time and your testimony. Next then, we have your proposal for a courtesy review. May we have introduction from staff, please? Oh,
Well,
Sam?
we essentially
Did
did
it all?
that, so
Okay,
we
nothing
can,
further then on that?
Correct.
Oh, okay, all right. So then, would anyone from the public like to speak on behalf of this courtesy review?
So we rolled it into one kind of discussion point, so I don't think we need to go back and ask for public comment anymore.
Okay.
It was all part of the application and this, and
Okay.
directed by staff already.
All right, that's
So,
more easy.
any
There's no one
comments?
waiting online anyway.
there is someone online now.
Well, I would
actually.
think that we want to hear from them.
That's fine.
They don't have,
But
they
thank you
don't-
for your
You don't
suggestion.
have to, but you can.
they don't have their hand raised, so perhaps we can play the video just
That's a
in
great
case
idea.
they would like to comment.
Good evening. If you've connected to the meeting tonight via Zoom and you're on a desktop or a laptop and you wish to make a public comment, we can't currently see or hear you. What you need to do, please, is wiggle your mouse around and look towards the bottom center of your screen. You should see a raise hand button. Go ahead and click on that now for us, please. Alternatively, if you've connected in via telephone, you can press *9.
They do not have their hand raised.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So I guess we go to the commission. And first up would be Commissioner Roddy.
Thank you. I find the proposal pleasing.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's the sense. We can go to him for every time for something crystal clear. All right, so next then is Commissioner LaFrance.
Well, I'm not much for brutalism personally, and I'm feeling that in connecting with the surrounding buildings in the area, that it's very, very heavy. Now, I am not an architect, but I do love art. I would like to see you guys work this a little harder. You also have some neighbors along Old Town that are industrial. And it seems to me if you're going to be doing some fine craft, some woodwork, some industry, that you might want to look and see if there's some elements that you could add to the design that would say that instead. Mirroring it after the shorter brick car repair shops and all of that would not be the artistic form I'm asking you to look for.
Understood.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm done.
Okay, Commissioner Feinstein?
Can you show the site plan on the
yeah,
screen?
there you go.
What, and I'm not sure if this, I mean, this probably hurts you a little bit if, with the suggestion, and I understand why you did it, but where the building, at the front, in relation to the adjacent building, I mean, it's pretty close to the street. And I know you're able to with setbacks and things like that, so it's, I mean, it's not like it's a zoning issue, but it just, it addresses the street in a way that's, I think, with the, when it was a house, it worked more, but the scale of the building, I think will kind of be very, very kind of abrupt. And if it was pulled back a little bit, I think that would be helpful. But I understand why you're doing it the way you're trying to maximize square footage and still get as much parking as possible, so I understand. But if there's a way to do that, that would be helpful. I think I'm less concerned about, I know you're bringing a different aesthetic to the building than obviously what's currently there. And I don't have a problem with that. I like if we're going to do a new building, you want it to look like a new building. I do think some elements, it's harder to take cues for what's across the street because it's a completely different language, or what's adjacent with I guess it would be if you're facing it to the right, I mean, yeah, it looks like you're mimicking the masonry a little bit, but beyond that, it's a different building, and I appreciate that. Maybe instead of the starkness of the black metal panel, maybe a softer panelized system of some type. I've seen some wood grain rain screens or something like that that could potentially kind of provide a softer aesthetic, but still keeping the same modern feel. There's a building in DC off Georgia Avenue that kind of has that sort of look to it, that creates a very modern look, but having that rain screen just sort of makes it feel a little bit more, earthy.
Sure.
But all in all, I think the idea of the roof terrace, I really like that. I think that would be really neat for the site and relate really well to the kind of the outdoor indoor environment there as you get closer to the heart of Old Town. I think that's actually really appropriate. You have the ability here because there's everything around it's completely different. I like striking its own language. I like what you're doing there with that.
Thank you.
Great comments, and I thought the wood grain concept was really would make a big difference visually, because I personally am concerned with the black, but it's not my turn yet. Commissioner Morgan.
Can you go back to the site plan? Okay. From your presentation, I understand your restraint and the challenge that you had with the site, kind of linear, and putting the building up, and then the front setback. And I agree with Mark. And I know you're trying to maximize the capacity, your size, and of the building, and the parking space, which is not required, but it's needed. But one question I have. You have 3 rolled up doors. You're gonna do some woodwork. You're gonna train young people, right? The building you're replacing is a residential building. You bring in a commercial. And I'm concerned with traffic of the truck bringing your woodwork, your material in. I don't see any, and then loading. I mean, this is very narrow, so I'm concerned about that. I know this is early in the process. This is a conceptual design, and through design development, more things are gonna come into play. But I'm concerned with traffic coming into the site and then going out. This is a residential area.
And trash also.
And trash and all that. Yes. I agree with it's a craft, fine craft. Sometimes when you have a name and a company that does something, you want your building to mimic or reflect you. So you're dealing with craft and you're dealing with wood, and I agree with that. Instead of that brick and metal, it's just a recommendation, maybe a softer material. There's so many stuff out there that look like wood, but it's composite material. I think I see what you're doing with the brick and the other material to mimic
the surrounding area, the other building. I see across the street you have a lot of brick, and that. But brick is fine. But I think the metal, if you can substitute that with a different, softer material, that would go. Other than that, I see the challenge. Even our recommendation is a linear site, and to put a building to meet, it says 7,500.
Just under.
Just on,
Was it
yeah.
74 or something? Yeah, square footage. Yeah.
And see. And then you're gonna train people.
We're gonna have our own custom woodworking for
Okay.
homeowners,
Okay.
like mud rooms or cubbies built in such. But we're also using it for trades. So,
Okay.
for example, we would approach Gaithersburg High School. We would approach different schools after class activities, and they would be able to be trained there.
Okay, so these people will be
downstairs.
coming to the site by what?
They could walk or they could
Walk.
drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and then one thing I did want to add, just so you all are privy to it, on the second floor we'll have an accordion wall that would close in the middle and then open up and into the building
Yeah.
to allow for open, like bit larger parties, seminars, and business seminars and such.
Yeah.
To allow for a bigger space, so
Yeah.
it's more convertible.
Okay. My last comment would be vegetation. I see you have few trees over here, and I don't know, just more vegetation.
And that might help soften up things too.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's all I have.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, I'm next and last. I really think the wood look rain screen is a wonderful, wonderful suggestion. It would have to work with the color of the brick. I think the wood look might clash with your current color, but I think the wood look rain screen is a phenomenal idea, because I have to say, those buildings they all look stunning. Generally, all the ones I've seen that have that, they look terrific. So that is something to consider. Looking in the site plan, this is north up, I assume, everybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the east side of the building, because that house is no longer there, and even when it would have been, and or when there will be another building, you will see a lot of that side elevation. And so can we go to the side elevations? Yeah, you guys already know this, that it's a tough elevation, and I know in plan, particularly on the first floor, you're backing it up with the spray areas and all that, so you don't have an opportunity to have actual windows. I'll say this, that generally when you offset the brick as you've done, it's certainly better than a simple all brick wall without any indentations and all. But it really never does the trick. It always looks in real life like it's not even there, just because unless there's a strong sun, you don't even see that. I think, forgive me for saying this, we as architects, I think, fool ourselves when we think it does matter a lot. Now, it does matter. It's certainly better than an all blank wall, but I think this is your toughest elevation, and it's only for, I would say, the right half side, because the further back you go on the site, the more it's going to be hidden from view, from vegetation and a future building and all. So I would say putting it up more towards the front, putting your energies more towards the front, few areas, let's say half the building, just cut it in half and say the front half we got to address and the back half can stay as is. But where I'm going with this is, my suggestion is use spandrel panels.
What was that?
Spandrel panels. That would
Okay.
solve the problem. You wouldn't have
Yeah.
to change the plan whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it could look exactly like the bay on the far right, identical. We do that all the time.
Yeah.
And even if you just put in one more bay, I think we can call ourselves successful. If you do two bays, well, we would be extremely happy. Those are our suggestions. Now, in plan, can we go back to site plan? My biggest thing was that you only have, like you said, six spaces. I saw a diagram where there was a tractor trailer going to be taking, the handicap, the ADA takes up 2 spaces, as you guys already know, but then you've got 3 regular spaces. Then I'm assuming that the ones to the bottom right, a little bit closer to the building, those are the other two that,
Yeah,
a
right
little bit, there you go.
Yeah, we lost some because we're working with getting the stormwater management and more green space in there.
Yeah, but don't you have a tractor trailer turning around, or not turning around, but backing up in there?
No.
At least on a diagram, I thought I saw
What,
that.
yes, that diagram was done. We're also entertaining the idea of having the trash on, the dumpster on wheels, and it could be brought to the street to avoid any larger truck turning in there.
Yeah, I don't know the volume of the refuse that you guys are gonna produce, but my gut feel is you'll produce a lot, and it seems to me that your trash area is grossly undersized. Now, that is from an outsider. If you guys have it handled,
Yeah.
it's not my concern whatsoever. If there isn't the issue of the width of the drive lane to the west side of the building being servicing the tractor trailers as if that was what this diagram is showing, perhaps then you can reduce the overall length of the building by increasing its width, and you'll pick up a lot of square footage in that ratio, because there's nothing more inefficient than a long, narrow anything. So it could help you make the building keep the same square footage, but make it a little bit less long by making it a tiny bit wider. You'll pick it up on a good ratio. Probably not 1 to 2, but you'll pick up for every foot you step back, you won't have to make it a foot wider. You'll pick up the same square footage that way. Because I do think that it's very close to the street, and I don't see most of the other buildings ever doing that. Obviously, the one to the left isn't, and if my memory is correct, where the house sat also, I don't think it was there as well. But anyway, those are my suggestions on that. Now, off to another subject altogether, something that isn't part of our purview. Can we go to the floor plan?
Yeah, let me see if I can get it up here. There we go.
Great. Let's see here. Okay, can we zoom in to just the first floor plan, just make it a little bit bigger without bleeding off of the page too much? Is there any way to zoom in?
You'd have to escape out of there and then zoom in from there.
Just manually?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's give this a try.
There you go.
That's better.
Okay.
So this is the
right.
first floor.
Right, that's the one I'm looking at, or I want to talk about. Now, this has nothing to do with the Historic District Commission giving suggestions on the building. But if I see something, it's improper for me in my mindset to not to say anything and say it's not my problem. I think you have a typo down at the bottom where you have the egress door opening in, and that one has to open out.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's been corrected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I know, it's
Yeah.
just a typo, I get
Yeah.
that. Can we go to the stairs up front, staircase? That, to me, I'll just say, check to see if you guys can have that be open like it is. You only have 2 sets of stairs, fire stairs, egress stairs. Now, I do know that, by the way, believe it or not, is this under, what code is this, 2018 or is it 2021?
2018.
2018,
we're
all right.
looking at now.
I was just looking at 2018 on another project today, and believe it or not, so far, there's a conflict, what I've discovered within the code. 2 separate code sections say 2 completely different things. But you have a 3-story building, and so from my vantage point, I'll put on the thoughts for you to just investigate further. I believe that the rule is you have to have fire stairs, have, if it's 4 stories, under 4 stories, over 4 stories has to be 2 hours, under 4 stories just 1 hour, but it has to be enclosed, it has to be fire rated. There are exceptions in another part of the code that says that if I think one exception says if it's only a 2-story building, you're allowed to have it being open. Well, yours is not, so it doesn't meet that exception. I also read something else where it said that if you have volatile substances, then it doesn't apply either. And I would have to believe fabrication It's industrial, so do you know offhand, I know it's early on, but do you know offhand what this building's going to be claimed as? Is it going to be S? Is it going to be industrial? Is it going to be
The space
mercantile?
for the space for the workshop,
Yeah, I would think it would be S.
I think it's industrial, is
Well,
what we
Yeah.
industrial?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
well, anyway, anything with volatile substances, which are cleaning fluids and all that stuff, varnishes and paints and all that stuff, I would imagine it would be considered volatile, so it would be like an S1 or an S2 is my gut feel. Even though S stands for storage, when you deal with certain things, it hits that. So whether it's industrial or not, my gut feel is that that might trigger a requirement to enclose your stairs. But like I said, at this moment in time, I found two completely different codes, because I'm working on this other project, that are in conflict with each other, and both of them are crystal clear. You have to have it, or you're allowed to, and it doesn't make any sense to me. My point is I'm throwing it your way just to check it out.
appreciate
And
that.
that's all I
Thank
have
you.
for you guys.
Thank you very much.
All right, and then anything else from anybody, because we're not voting on it? Any other 2 cents? No?
What,
Other than that?
I have one question. What do you use in Montgomery County? Is it ABAS for your ADA?
I'm sorry,
ABAS.
The ADA?
You
ADA.
thinking about ADAG?
No,
ADAG?
no, ABAS.
Well, the
yeah.
code for national is
Yeah.
the 2010 ADA.
ADA, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
everybody
the
has to
government
meet
use
that.
ABAS.
Everybody
yeah.
has to meet that.
Yeah, okay.
But
okay.
certain other codes
Yeah.
use ANSI. Are you thinking of ANSI?
No.
It's
no.
A117.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's ANSI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this county, I mean, the city requires that or
Okay,
not. That's
all
not
right.
our purview.
Okay.
So, but I don't know. You'll find out, I imagine, when you go through permit or when you
Yeah.
start doing your
We've had a
investigations.
preliminary review,
Oh, okay.
and we got the green light, at least in this early concept stage,
Yeah. Okay.
from codes and exiting and all of that.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay.
Can you put up the 3D picture also again, please? for me?
Let's see. that
Not the
would
good
be-
building,
I know, right? Give me a
the
tissue.
new building.
Ah, the new building, sorry. Okay, here we
All
go.
right. I'll say this. Commissioner Morgan mentioned that he would like to see some elements from the original building placed in there. I personally don't think that's necessary, me personally, because you're talking two different styles completely.
Which is why I mentioned, pardon me,
Mhm.
looking around at the industrial ones that we're actually talking about as possible
Mhm.
district, it could be a nice fit if they could include some of those elements instead, being that it's an industry.
Yeah.
But please, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. But grain silos won't really work on this.
No, but you talk about the spandron that you suggested, right?
sorry?
The spandron panel that you
Yeah, yeah,
suggested.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
You have the siding that is on the original building. Again, that can be
Incorporated. into
incorporated.
account.
Yeah, and in the spandron panel that the new courthouse in Rockville, it looked like a brown rust panel. It's very beautiful. You can
Okay?
yeah. It's just, that's what I was thinking about when
Well,
you mentioned
not
that.
that I'm getting sidetracked, but that courthouse will never turn patina. That's not real copper.
Is that real? I
No,
know.
it's
Yeah, I
not.
know, but it's
It'll never turn patina.
Yeah, no, it won't. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there was a budget issue there.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But we
The real
digress.
copper is original when you
I'm sure
install
it was
it's green.
all copper,
It's
right?
green and it changed to yeah.
They
Yeah.
Do you guys want a
Painted.
legal opinion on that?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
We're allowed
courthouse.
to here, but anyway. So I think that one of the things that I was looking at is that your original drawings, this is a high-res rendering, the original drawings that you had in there that looked like they were more probably Revit renderings.
Yes.
The colors look so much harsher in those renderings than it does in your high-res rendering. So that gave me some, comfort. Yeah, so these look just really rough to me, the
Yeah.
darkness.
They were
and all.
very, very early on.
Yeah, and so my big concern with those was the colors are so deep and dark, but your new rendering with the high resolution seems like it was a little bit brighter. But it goes to my point, and it was really Mark's point as well. His point, firstly, was the black or the deep dark gray is pretty ominous still, even in your current one, just because it's so massive. I do think turning your back on the train tracks is a good idea. You did fine on that. You don't have to worry about them. But the other parts, particularly to the front elevation, I think, because it's the tallest structure, and it's just very prominent on all the three front sides, front and two, the front parts of the two sides. Just something to consider. I think Mark's point is well taken, is that maybe see if you can lighten that up. But overall, I think that it looks to me like the future of Gaithersburg, particularly in the zoned area that it's in, the commercial industrial zone that it's in. So I see parts of Gaithersburg eventually looking like Rockville, new construction, new structures and all. So that's it for me.
Right. Can I mention something?
Yeah, please.
That also, we were trying to do our best to kind of blend the new with some old kind of, there was also like a picture that we saw of a granary.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
she's saying, yeah.
And then
yeah.
also there's more in the Crown area, near Rio, there's a more industrial look.
Yeah.
We're kind of trying to play with different elements.
Well, that's a good suggestion, because other than the silos, which I wouldn't suggest, I'm teasing you on that. They did have, can we bring up that picture?
Of which one?
It was the orange building with, I think, the
Oh,
patina
you mean the
green.
building next door?
Yeah.
Here,
mean,
I can do it.
And I think that's what they're suggesting, that's what they're
exactly
saying,
right.
that they were
Yes.
looking towards.
There you
Yeah,
go.
see,
To
that,
continue the language.
yeah, and that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Morgan was
Yeah.
saying.
Well,
Yes.
I don't know.
And there's a
You don't
gas
think so?
station,
I think,
and there's a gas station on the other side.
I think to some degree you're giving enough homage to that without
Yeah.
mimicking it. I like actually how you differentiated it a little bit. Like, I think if you try, like, I like the fact you have the flat roof. I like the fact that you.
I'm not saying
keep
to
the-
try to change styles.
I like the fact you keep the scale.
Yeah.
I'm not saying,
But it's different enough to me that
Right.
it
I was
works.
just talking about colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
think,
color that we like is more the latest
brick.
rendering.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
the
suggesting
lighter.
mimicking this building architecturally.
Mhm.
That would be, no, it was not something I was
Okay. Okay. I
putting
misunderstood
forth.
you. Yeah.
All right.
But you can see what they did. Look at the bottom windows there,
Yeah.
the openings. You can see
Yeah.
that's what they pulled into
Yeah.
theirs.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
their statement
the
that
triangle,
they did
yeah.
respect that.
Yeah.
And the brick color looks like it's very similar. I just thought that maybe that the black or the real dark gray
Right.
mass can be rethought. That's really where I was going with all this.
Mhm. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Very good.
Thank you very
Thank you very
All right.
much.
This yours?
Okay, then, next is from staff. Frank, you're up. You're on the spot.
Nothing more to offer tonight.
Oh,
but
good one,
thank
good
you.
one.
I could try to give you a
Thank you,
90-minute
everybody.
speech, but I won't.
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said try to give you a 90-minute speech, but I won't do
Oh,
it.
thank you,
Nothing.
thank you. All right, Chris?
Nothing from me tonight.
All right, and Greg? Very good, all right, anything from the commissioners? John?
No, sir.
Mary Jo?
I have a question, because I think it's,
We almost got out.
I know, right? And I want to go even worse than anybody, right? But
That's true, you have a trip to make.
I know someone that might be interested when siding becomes available. But I wonder if that's like an inappropriate thing to bring up. So I'll bring it up now that the meeting's over to find out if that's some information I could share. Or
So say this
how does
again, I'm
that work?
unclear what you mean?
I know somebody who might be interested in siding off of buildings.
That's gonna be
that are gonna
salvaged.
be- Yes.
Well, sure, they're open to that, they said. If you have somebody come to retrieve it, they'll allow you to take it, because it's less hallway and less expense for them. So it's not inappropriate if you have somebody to do it. The only trouble is removing the siding without having just splinters to haul away. It might be a little bit difficult for them, but I don't know.
I just didn't know if it was a conflict.
I think
of
she's
interest.
concerned
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
more
Ethics.
ethical
Right.
concern.
Well, you're not
Um,
benefiting from it, are you?
Well, she's
That
the
could
person,
be.
Somebody she
Somebody
knows.
should know benefit.
But that's-
It might be
that-
good just to coordinate through Chris,
Yeah,
just
but
to
that-
let them know,
Yeah.
and then maybe that person can
Yeah.
I
coordinate
don't think
directly.
people
That
that you
sounds
know
good.
are ever off the table for something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it wouldn't
Because
be
as long
financial
as-
gain.
I'm saying, as long as
Yeah.
it doesn't go to you, there's no issue
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now, even if it does go to you. you
Well,
can
the
just
ethics
get
actually
approval.
does address
Yeah.
Yeah, you just get
Yeah.
approval from
friends
them
or people
not.
connected
Right.
to you,
Okay.
so.
You know,
It can be a
I
big
don't
problem.
think, to
You could-
them,
Go
it's
ahead.
not gonna be any value to them.
Yeah, you could just put her in contact with me, and then I can connect her with the applicant.
Right. All right, very good then.
Oh, and it'll
Like
save
that
the
window.
environment and everything.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but it is
Yeah.
more of a disclosure, right? So she actually, yeah.
That's exactly it.
It also needs to be open, for all of our viewers want it, also they should get in contact with Chris.
That-
Yeah,
There you go.
yes.
Look in the
That's
camera-
great.
Look in the camera right now and suggest that. It's
Well,
a
and-
great
and the
suggestion.
prior
It's open to
applicant-
all.
Someone reached out to the city today asking if the floors would be available from the interior of the
Wow.
house. So there's a lot of
Floors.
people
Reaching out,
interested in
yeah.
this.
That's,
great.
are they wood
Nice.
floors in there?
I have no idea.
Be
Yeah.
careful if they're
Zoom.
9x9 tiles. I'll just give you a warning.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right, so be careful. So, asbestos.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
That's it.
That's it? All right, anybody? No?
No, nothing.
Okay, we are hereby adjourned.